Thank you so much for coming today. I am Lisa Daly. My fabulous co-hosts today are Carrow Brown and Story Detective Robert Jones. Carrow, tell us all about you.
Oh, hi, my name is Carrow Brown. I'm an urban fantasy author and the operations director for Otherworld Inc. I'm also running the publishing part of it, which is launching next year, so I'm super excited about that. I'm here today to work on a short story that I'm just going to self-publish under a pen name, because when you are constantly at the mercy of the machine, it's just nice to have something that you control. So this is my thing.
Isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth? All right, Robert, tell us all about you. What are you working on?
Writer, artist, my entire life. Started in the trenches in the comic book field. I am still working on my nano project, which never got finished, and I don't have any momentum at this point. So it's slogging along.
Well, we're going to get you back on track today. So, oh, look, everybody's here. Look at this. Good morning. Hello, Steve. We're so glad to see you. Joe Ninja Hen is here. Yay.
Hey, Joan.
All right. Alina's here. Hey. So nice to see you. I'm very happy to see you guys. So, about me, I'm a best-selling author of like 8 books. Here's a question. If you have a book that you're finished but it's not published yet, do you count that in your number or not?
I would say that you've written X amount of works and you've published X amount of works.
Yeah,
that's what I would say.
I always just say author of blah blah blah. I have a book that's coming out next year. It's not fiction. It's nonfiction. It's middle grade. I sort of did it like a weird side project, but it was kind of fun. Most of my books are traditionally published though. But I do have a couple of little Kindle projects for the same reason, Carol, that you were talking about earlier, which is control.
Yeah.
Because as much as I've had a really great relationship with almost all of my publishers, I have certainly had things that have happened where I'm not super happy with the outcome. But there are some things in your contract, like your title, the cover, etc. You're signing away. So you don't like it? Tough beans.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you have an agent, Lisa, that's okay with that, or are there other factors involved that they?
Oh no, my agent is fantastic. My agent is actually Stephanie Evans. She used to be the president of Fine Print, and now she has moved over to Aisha Panday Literary, which is like this agency that's way cooler than I am. She was more sort of literary. Stephanie's got more commercial clients, and but she was with Fine Print for years and years. And I started working with Stephanie, who was always on my short list of agents. I started working with Stephanie after my previous agent, Brendan, left to go to the dark side, otherwise known as publishing, and said, "You guys are going to get along great." And we set up a meeting, and sure enough, we did. And she's been my agent for a long time, like maybe 8 or 9 years now. And she is great. If you have a chance to sign with Stephanie, do it, because she's really good.
I have friends that want to self-publish for the same reason, and they're like, "But if I did it, my agent would break my legs." And I'm like, "Well, maybe you should look into another agent."
Yeah, or do it under a pen name, under a pen name. You know.
Yeah, it's true. And like one of the books in particular, there was a book that I wanted to write for an audience of like older women, and the agent who sold it had sort of the agent and the publisher had sort of talked me down to like writing a book for women over 50 when I really wanted to write it for women like over 60. It's a vastly different audience. And when I was telling Stephanie about this, she was like, "You should just write, like, just do the other one. Just write it up on Kindle. Like, just do it." And she was very open about it. So she's fantastic. I love her. I will keep her forever, I think. So, all right. So let's start, I think, with a 5-minute sprint. There's some really interesting stuff brewing in the AuthorTube community, and I want to talk about it after we do our first sprint. So are you guys ready to get rolling?
Yes, ma'am.
Do it. All right, here we go. I'm going to put this would have been smart to do this ahead of time. Yep, here we go. All right, I am putting it up, and we are going. Oh, good, we're up. All right, here we go. Oh my God, that's awful. Oh, that's the first time I've ever used that timer. That's terrible. Oh my God. Oh my gosh, that is the worst. I have to figure out some configuration where I can have the timer up, us up, and the bottom person, like the last person into the live stream, doesn't get their head covered up. So, all right. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I was like so busy like messing with everything. I got like 17 words written. So
I didn't get a lot done either. Let me see. What was it?
I wrote 261 words.
well, you are a badass, Carrow. That's really amazing. 261 in 5 minutes is like phenomenal.
It's just a zero draft.
Imagine if you could write an entire book at that speed.
Yeah.
No, yeah. All right. So how'd you guys all do? What up, Daily Brown Jones? That's cool, right? That's like a badass, like private eyes name, Daily Brown Jones. Hello, we're so glad to see you. Okay, so Joan says, haha, Carrow's face, because we were just talking about how we're going to talk about a little AuthorTube controversy. Let's do this. Yes, SD. All right, how did you guys do? I want to know how we did in our little warm-up. Is everybody warmed up? I usually don't ask like word count for warm-ups just because a lot of time I just spend like the whole 5 minutes like looking at my screen trying to figure out like what, actually sort of warming up. So here's the controversy. If you guys are not familiar, we talked about this just a teeny bit right before we went live, and here's the deal. So another SD says that timer. I know. I promise we'll never use that one again. I had that one. Like, that's awful. Bit of story. She's beta reading. Made a handful of comments. Just finished proofing a chapter. Yay, Alina.
Nice.
48. So Joan has like tripled my score. Oh my gosh, I still owe you a book, Joan. Okay. Start writing on the next sprint. Me too. Me too. Okay, so here's what we're talking about today. Some controversy. Basically, someone posted in one of the Facebook AuthorTube communities, which are generally, I have found to be very supportive and positive. Yeah, I mean, so they posted today, and basically the post was about who should be giving writing advice on AuthorTube. What does it mean to to say that you're a full-time writer, and whether this qualifies or this doesn't qualify. And I had kind of a strong reaction to it. I didn't respond to the post yet. And I'm generally a very positive person, but I had a pretty visceral reaction to it. And I'm very curious as to what you guys think about that. So do tell.
I have pretty strong feelings about that. I thought about making a video on this subject.
I think I am too. I feel like we're going to need a tag for this. You guys start coming up with that while we're talking. Yeah.
I think everybody is there documenting your journey. Everybody is learning along the way. And what you've learned today, even if it's a small piece, I guarantee there's somebody out there that needs to hear it from your point of view.
I think that's totally true. I mean, I find, well, so here's the thing. One of the things that she talked about was whether self-publishing counts versus whether you have to be traditionally published. And I will say I think some of the best writing advice you will find on AuthorTube comes from Jenna Moreci. And as far as I know, all her stuff is self-published.
She's got two books. They're both self-published.
Exactly. So this girl sells a ton of books. She knows her stuff. I've been in this business a long time. I have never heard her say anything where I went, she has no idea what she's talking about. I really, really, I think there's so many great perspectives. And yes, certainly there's some bad writing advice on YouTube, but there is also bad writing advice, I think, at conferences sometimes.
Oh yeah, there's tons. Like, I've gone to conferences and somebody said something, I'm like, hold on, sis, like, that's not how that works.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah.
So okay, so Carrow, spill.
Okay, so I know I did a video about this topic a little while ago because somebody came after Meg Latour, who's iWriterly, basically saying she's not qualified to give writing advice because she's not published. And I basically called bullshit on that because for those who don't know, iWriterly, Meg Latour used to be a literary agent, and literary agents are basically behind the doors talking to publishers, saying what's going to work, what's not going to work. So for somebody to come out and say that, for people to come out and say who can and can't give writing advice is a form of elitism, which is ultimately going to lead to a toxic work environment. And this obviously stems, and if you can't tell, this is my psychology background coming in. And this, so this ultimately creates a toxic work environment because what's happening is people are trying to create a hierarchy about who can and can't talk. And that is, at the end of the day, going to exclude people. It's going to hurt feelings. And what these people don't really seem to realize while they're trying to find qualified people, but who can and can't talk, what they are really doing is dismissing a person's personal experience, which in my opinion is really valuable. Like some of these writing vlogs that people do are really insightful because sometimes they'll talk about how they hit a snag and how they got really depressed over the snag. And there's going to be so many people who are going to be like, I relate to that. I'm there. So for people who say who can and can't give writing advice, you need to fuck off.
Carrow, I feel like you need to come out of your shell more, honey. I mean, right? Well, the other thing too is if you think about it, there are so many valuable perspectives along the journey. I look at Kate Kavanaugh, who I adore, I think is delightful. And she doesn't give a ton of writing advice, although she certainly shares her experiences along the way. But for one thing, I love her like energy and enthusiasm. That girl is like a firecracker, and she's like at the beginning of her career, and she's so excited, so passionate, and I love that. Like I find that so inspiring, and I love that she has done the research to say like, well, this writer writes this way, and this writer writes this way. And I will say, Robert did a really interesting video that you posted yesterday, or was this morning?
It was last night.
Last night. Okay, so where he was talking about Kate Kavanaugh doing George R.R. Martin and his advice that you should write short stories first, and you had a perspective on that, which I'm not going to share. I'm just going to send people to that video. I'll link to it in the description after this one. And right, so I think but I love the fact that she's sort of experimenting to try and kind of find what works best for her with, with trying these different styles. Okay, we would have a ton of comments, so I want to go.
Oh yeah, you've talked about something.
Oh, you go. I'll pull them up. Okay, Alina says, "Oh, I did respond." The one right way thing is the thing that bothers me because honestly, I know I don't know a million authors. I know it feels like a million sometimes. I know a lot of authors and everybody does it differently. And so you could copy J.K. Rowling's routine and her whatever to the, just down to the letter, and you would not duplicate what she has done versus somebody who has no idea what they're doing. My most successful book was my first book, my nonfiction book. I didn't have a clue what I was doing. So I don't know that there's not a one right way. There are about 87 paths to get anywhere. Okay,
I think you could be the most established writer on the planet and give this blanket advice.
Right.
And like one comment on my video from yesterday said, that makes me feel like I'm an imposter, like I'm not an authentic writer when that's all I do. And that's something too. I think you have to kind of give it with the perspective of here's a technique. This is worked for me, maybe it'll work for you, but there are variations on every technique.
Oh, always.
Because there's tons of opinion with every bit of advice.
Well, there's more than one way to do it. I mean, there have been writers throughout all of history who have written in different ways. Just the fact that there are so many, half and half pantsers and plotters, those are completely different writing perspectives, and writing styles. And yet these people still all produce books. So, there's not a right way. There's not a right way. The thing about what you just talked about imposter syndrome, right? I think so many authors have that. People who publish a ton of books are on the New York Times bestseller list. I remember going to a book expo a decade ago, more than that, probably 15 years ago. And do you guys remember that book, The Lovely Bones?
Oh yeah.
What beautiful book, incredibly written book. And I met her at that, it was the year that Lovely Bones like blew up. And I met her, I don't know, at some author coffee or something. And we chatted for maybe 10 minutes. And she said that she felt like she was faking it. She was like riding in a limo on the day she had hit the New York Times bestseller list. And I don't know where she was going because I didn't get the impression she often rode in limos, but she was going somewhere on the list, and she still felt like she wasn't like a real author. I know a ton of people who feel that way, honestly. And there are days where I go like, what the hell do I know? And then other days where I feel like, okay, I've got my shit together. So yeah, all right, let's see some more comments. SD said she had to step away because the post it did feel very it did feel very attacky. Be taller, Robert. Tendency to insert foot in mouth syndrome. I have that occasionally. Jenna Moresi is, well, now I like Jenna Moresi. I will say I love her energy, and I think she does have good writing advice. That said, Joanna Penn is an icon. That woman, amazing. Right? She has been, and it's a shame to me that her YouTube channel does not get more traction because she,
I know, like what's going on with that? Like, so like here's a beef that I have with YouTube. So like I unsubscribed from Jenna Morasi because she's associated with a publisher that I have a bad relationship with, and so to kind of just keep a distance, I was like, I love you, Jenna. I can't be part of that. So I unsubscribed from Jenna. Every week she uploads, her videos get recommended to me, but every time Joanna uploads, I have to go find it.
Yeah.
And Joanne has so much good stuff because not only does she do the how-to, she does the author interview, she does the podcast stuff, she does so much stuff, and I'm like, why am I not getting that pushed at me more?
Her blog is phenomenal. This woman has been giving great writing advice for like over a decade. I mean, she's really, really good.
Yeah.
So. I just heard of last week during the live stream, and I went and binged like 17 videos. Yeah. I mean, great advice. Really fantastic advice.
All right. I love the author interviews.
Yeah. So the idea of writing advice when you overcharge and have zero credentials.
Okay, that I have very strong opinions about.
Yeah.
Well, so I think a lot of this, like if you search AuthorTube T, you're going to see 700 videos about this. And I did not, like because I've not been on AuthorTube that long. And Robert had to explain to me because I'm like, what is this about?
Oh, poor Lisa.
Yeah. And that was basically about someone who, you explain, CARROW.
So like there's been a couple of controversies this year, and like there was one that happened like the other day, and like my friend Tamara mentioned it to me. I was like, must be a day that ends in Y. And basically like with all these situations that happen, you have individuals who have been on YouTube for a while, and then they start charging for like motivational services or editing services or critique services and all this other stuff. And the big consensus that happens with when these happen is the fact that these people don't actually have the credentials. Like one person is doing like life coaching stuff, but they don't have a life coach certificate. They don't have a psychology background. They don't have any of that. They're just doing it to make money, unfortunately. With the person that came out the other day, they were charging a very large sum of money. Like I just stared at it for a good 5 minutes. And then I went to go check out that person's credentials, and it just says 5 years work experience. And I'm like, 5 years work experience doing what? Working at McDonald's, like copying papers? Like what were you doing?
Right. Yeah.
So
well, and that's such a nebulous kind of a gig anyway, life coaching, because So this is interesting. We do kind of put all advice under writing advice, and it's not necessarily the same thing, right? Editing, publishing, marketing advice. I mean, if I'm a writer, a new writer, and I'm trying to sell a book to a traditional publisher, I would definitely go to it's iWriterly, right? Isn't that?
Yeah, Meg Latour.
Lit agent author tubers, because they A, know what is selling, and B, know why they are rejecting books. And if I'm trying to break into that business, I want to know what it is that is making you turn a book down. So yeah, we have a ton of comments on this.
Yeah. Just to let you know, they usually get turned down because you don't follow the submission guidelines.
Oh, that's a huge thing. That's a huge thing. As far as what people decide to charge for coaching, I think some of this obviously is kind of what the market will bear. But if you are a new writer and you're taking advice, make sure that the person that you're taking advice from actually knows what they're talking about. And how you determine who knows what they're talking about is, is really up to you. But at least know what you're getting in for. You know what you're in for. Okay. All right. I think now I have to check this out. Yep. Okay. Nihilist Geek. Hello, Geek. We're so glad you're here. Right. George R.R. Martin describing what he knows. Yeah, that's true. It is true. So the point was about whether or not you should write short stories. I will have to say I've never written a short story. I don't think ever. It was hard to read.
You can learn a lot, but then you come to a novel and you have to expand that so much. If you're not, I think the addendum to Martin's would be if you're writing short stories for 5 years or even a year, you need to look at writing a novel because you come from one format to another. A novel is hugely engrossing.
Right. It's a big thing. And honestly, I think that any sort of competitive environment where you're writing, whether you're writing short stories or advertising or magazines, although that is challenging because I know a lot of magazine writers who, after a long time of writing for the same magazine, and freelancers don't really have this problem because they're able to write in a lot of different voices. Mm-hmm. But I do know a lot of magazine writers who have struggled to find their own voice after writing in a magazine's voice for a long time. They're so used to writing like Cosmopolitan or Fish and Wildlife that they really struggle to find their own video.
Yes.
Skis. And for Chris Fox videos, ... Yeah,
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, this is why I keep blaming YouTube because like Jenna Morassi knows what she's doing when she times those videos as she does because that's what's going to hit the algorithm, right? But the problem is that Joanne and Chris, they are so expansive and so educational in their videos that they're long. Like my videos are long too because I can't just talk about like the stuff I do in like 10 minutes. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
Yeah. Hit that algorithm and get tons of subscribers, so I don't really quite understand that.
And the thing that sucks about the algorithm is that it's changing constantly. Like Amy Somebody, or Amy Amazing Buddy, as I like to tease her about, she's an SEO consultant and she tracks the algorithms for like Google overall because that's her job. Right. And she's like, oh yeah, another change just came. I was like, but there was a change last month. And she's like, girlfriend, it changes all the time.
Constantly. It's changing constantly. So Joanna, she has 33,000 followers, but she only posts once a week and she does not push the YouTube channel a lot. That said, she does have a lot of followers, but her videos do not get a ton of views. Some of them do, but day to day or week to week, her videos don't get as many views as you would think they would with 33,000 followers. And certainly it's not, it's really matched with the quality of her content. She knows her stuff. So.
Oh yeah, she has another comment right under Joanne Ninja that actually makes a lot of sense.
All right, let's see where we go. Don't understand that as well. She is great. And she also doesn't have as much engagement. Yes, that is absolutely true. That is absolutely true. All right.
Go Elena being smart about stuff.
20 books to 50K is an interesting channel.
Yeah.
I think you're the person who told me about Chris Fox last week. I feel like I should just get like a watch list, like a viewing list from you.
He's really informative as well because he does the rapid release formula and he like really breaks that down in a really easy to follow manner. Like I know a couple months ago, not to like be like I'm throwing shade or anything, but like Jenna Morassi came out with a video about rapid release and the verbiage in it was pretty biased and everybody was like throwing like Chris's video saying this is actually how it works. Like, and Chris doesn't just kind of like talk off the cuff. Like he's got like numbers and statistics to kind of back up what he's talking about. Yeah. And the thing that's nice about it is that he's really honest and he's like, this doesn't work for everybody. Right. Because
yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the thing is like, not everything works for everybody. And some people really want to self-publish and really want to know how to make that work. And if you do, I think Jenna Moresi is a good example. Like, she's done that really well and better than, like, more successfully, I guess, than a lot of other people have been able to do. But if you really want to go, you know, if you really want to be traditionally published and that's your big dream, she's probably not your best resource. There probably are a number of others, including Joanna Penn.
Yeah.
Yes, overcharging in credentials. I have a real. I think it's hard to judge like what something is worth to people, but I do think that there's a lot of sort of spammy, con kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And that has been true for the history of, as long as people have wanted to become authors, there have been people to take them, which is really funny because it's a hard enough job as it is without having that kind of thing. Picasso said something like, if there was only one way to paint a flower, there wouldn't be millions of paintings about flowers. The same is true for books. Totally true. Totally true. Yes. All right, here we go.
Yeah, follow guidelines
for submissions. Yes, true. Always super. Oh, that's good. All right, I'm gonna have to check that out too. Thank you very much for that.
Elena has really good videos about self-publishing as well. She knows what she's talking about on her stuff too. So she has strong feelings.
All right, that's good. All right, I'm just making a list of all the people I should subscribe to after this. Oh, good job, Brenda. Popped over to and subscribed. Fantastic. I'll be doing that right after the live stream. As you all know, I'm not able to do more than 2 things at a time, and barely even that. Okay. All right, thank you, DL. We're so happy to see you. All right. Yes, to a well-known comic book writer weeks ago, they did not get it. You know, not everybody does.
No.
Hey, Jay, so good to see you.
You're welcome.
Shout out. Thanks for coming today. I'm very excited to have you here. All right. So are you guys ready to do another writing sprint? We can always go when we come back. All right.
It's your
We're off our normal schedule this time. Let me get my screen up here. We'll pop this baby up. All right, here we go.
Okay.
Oh, now look what I just did. What a spaz. Okay. All right, guys, here we go. Let's get started. All right. All right. There we go. There we go. Awesome. Okay, look at this. We have some people. Savvy. Hello, everybody. Savvy says, hey, friends. I'm at the doctor, but I wish I could be there. We wish you were here, too. I was remembering that because I think you had a doctor's appointment last week, Robert, and Savvy had one this week. And I couldn't, I knew you were coming back, but I couldn't remember if Savvy was going to be here this week or the next week. But I just sent her the link anyway. I'm like, if you're here, Joyce, Jay says, hey, hey, Marvel. Hey, Savvy. Oh, me. I'm not going to do that. All right. DL says, hey, Savvy. Eva Wright is here. Hello, Eva. Yay. Awesome. Steven's Writing Corner is here. Hi, Steven. So glad you're here. All right. This is such a good point Jace makes. I think based on what we were talking about before. So for you guys who are just coming in during the sprint, we were talking about what's going on in the AuthorTube community, specifically that post in the AuthorTube Facebook group where one of the authors was talking about what qualifies someone to give advice to other people. Can you really call yourself a full-time writer if you do this or this, which is the other thing I want to talk about today. And so we were talking about that earlier. So if you look at the comments, you'll see there's quite a lot of opinion about it. Holy crap, 851 words. Wow. Woo! Awesome. That's awesome. How'd you do, Carrow?
I got 817. So Alina beat me.
You're killing it. How'd you do, Robert?
Let me get a quick count. It wasn't that many.
Me either. I just came in at 354. So not certainly better than my 17 from last time. And also I will say I sent Joan Ninja Hen, check your email. I finally sent it to you. And yeah, and I also went over and subscribed to a couple of people because I didn't want to forget. So unbelievable. That's right. More reading, more beta reading. Esty, that is awesome. Thank you. Yay, newcomers.
Yay, people.
Even us too. We definitely enjoy the replies. Oh no. Oh, I'm so glad you came by. I hope you'll come back next week. All right. Fantastic. Well, I went over and you will notice I went over and subscribed to you because I didn't want to forget. And so thanks for coming.
You'll like her videos.
What for Joe? That's awesome. I'm sorry, I just talked right over you, Carol. What'd you just say?
Oh, I said you're gonna like her videos. I think, Robert, you were saying your numbers and I totally missed it. What was it?
Me too. I'm sorry.
5. So
that's great.
That's still good.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I think we've all agreed that anything more than 17 is excellent. 434 in a movie review I have to turn in today. This is why Nihilist is so fast, right? Because are you a freelancer? That's why. So my significant other is the horror geek, and this guy's been writing reviews for 100 years, not that long. He's been writing reviews for like 20 years though, and he is so fast. When he was writing his first novel, he could knock out his 2,000 words in like an hour and a half. Killed me. It was awesome, but it was like, oh. All right. Oh, good. I'm so glad you're excited. Yay. All right. Posted my synopsis and a cry for beta readers in my local Nano Discord group. Well, I hope so. Tell us about your book a little bit. Actually, I think you told us a little bit last week, but tell us some more here for people who are new. Okay. So you guys all did great. Keep it coming. So I want to talk about this other part about this AuthorTube controversy thing that we've got going on, because this was also something that really sort of got under my skin about how you can't call yourself a full-time writer or author if you do anything besides write books, or all your income has to come from writing. And I'm a little conflicted about that. I'm a lot conflicted about that.
Yeah.
First of all, if you're traditionally published, it takes like 1.5 to 2 years before you see any cash, sometimes longer than that, other than your initial advance, which does help, but they're hardly ever so much that you could live on them for 2 years. But what about all the other things that writers do? I speak at conferences sometimes, or do, talks at universities, and they often pay an honorarium. Does that count? What about what if you take on some freelance writing? What if you teach writing classes? What if you do other? Here's a really good example. I do a television show, a nationally syndicated TV show every week, and I started doing this because I did a dating segment on Valentine's Day, and they asked me if I could come back and be on the show every week. So does that not count? I mean, I did it to promote my book, but now it's been like a decade. So I don't know. What do you guys think about this?
Almost well, not every, but a lot of creative people that I've known have taught classes or done something else, even worked part-time jobs if they were freelancing, and things got a little tight because the way companies are in the world today, they're not giving you the same steady amount of work to everyone that they once gave. So it's tough times for everybody. So to say that you have to make the same kind of money and that's your only income, that says to me you haven't been out there. You haven't been in the trenches.
Or you don't care about paying the rent or eating, or you don't have children, right? I certainly consider myself to be a full-time writer, and I make my income from writing activity. But, I teach writing classes sometimes. Most of it comes from books, but some of it comes from speaking or doing other things related to books, but not specifically books. I have kids to support. So, yeah, it's my main gig that and all of my I consult for a publishing company. Does that count? Does that not count? So I don't know. I think it's crap, basically. So that's the short take on it. All right, I'm going to switch us back this way so I can put the comments under. Alex says, hi, Alex. Thanks so much for stopping by.
I think a lot of these comments are coming from a gross misunderstanding about how the industry works, and they're basically feeding off of a tiny grain of information that they got. And this kind of goes back. This kind of goes back to the elitism that I mentioned before, where people are basically trying to exclude other individuals because they're not good enough. And in all honesty, like, if you don't actually work in the industry, you don't really get to label people about what they are and what they aren't. So whoever's doing this, you need to check yourself, sis. Seriously.
I don't know, Robert. I agree with that. Robert, what do you think about that? I mean, you told us a little bit, right? I know television producers who do video projects on the side. Like most creative people, if you want to live that kind of life, there are times when you have to take on other kinds of projects. They're generally related to your area of expertise, but sometimes they're not. And I don't know. I also hate like kind of all the judgment, like, oh, you're an author, you're not, I'm definitely a full-time writer. I've been a full-time writer since I graduated from college, but I worked in a variety of different fields, and I think all of that helps, doesn't it? I mean, certainly my experience with advertising helped me to become published, for sure, right? I don't know what. And Robert, I know you started out, working for a comic book company. So
I worked for much all the comic book companies, it's publishing. It's just you're doing it in a different format, and you're doing it with monthly deadlines instead of an elongated deadline.
Right.
So you have to always keep producing. It's almost like working for the pulp trade back in the day, because you constantly have to be on your toes and working.
Right.
And it doesn't help you meet deadlines.
Right.
And it's practice in the trenches.
It is. I have this big comment up from Alina, even though we're cutting off the bottoms of all of our faces. But I think you're exactly right. So she says it goes against all sensible personal finance and business advice. You need multiple streams of income. And you need to grow your platform, right? So doing audio, I mean, I think about like, does this mean like if we monetize our YouTube channels, our AuthorTube channels at some point, like, well, that's it, you're no longer an author? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. All right.
We have to monetize when we're able. We don't have a choice.
Is that true? I think you don't have to, but I think it would be silly not to. Yeah. Urban fantasy high school drama. Ooh, that sounds fun. Sort of Shadowhunters meets LiveStraiMing. Oh my gosh, that sounds really good. That sounds really good. All right.
I think that AuthorTube it's a small niche within the many facets of YouTube, and we get this whole attitude of what's popular and what's not popular, and there's a group mentality.
Yeah.
And sometimes the group mentality is very good because we have a great community.
Right.
And these things seep in there that's not so healthy, and it's based on opinion, rumor. We don't like this, so we're going to make, again, our own blanket statements.
Right.
Someone else's blanket statements.
Right.
So we become like say one thing and do another, but we're actually doing the same thing that we're fighting against sometimes.
Right.
Yeah, like a lot of so what's really ironic about this is that a lot of people on YouTube like complained about gatekeepers.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what this is.
That's exactly what it is. I know. The funny thing too is that I always find it interesting about, I can take my hair up and down because my office is just that level of like warm or cold where I get a little bit chilly, so I put my hair down because it helps keep me warm. But then I get too hot, so I put it back up. I'm not sure what that is. Yeah, well, the thing that's interesting to me is that often writers who would like to become traditionally published think that there's this whole army of publishers and agents who are working actively to keep them out.
No, it's just one tired intern.
Right, and it could not be less true. Everyone in publishing loves a debut novelist for sure, or a debut author, because you're not saddled with any book sales that are lackluster or even just reasonably good,
or have to deal with the bias or a stigma that's applied to you and your brand and right. So you're just starting off fresh. You're like a brand new character. So everybody, and plus people like to be the one who discovered the cool thing before it was cool. Mm-hmm. So Eva says this message was that you should be an earner, success measured by wealth, before you're a professional worthy of selling services. Well, actually, I know a lot of really fantastic writers who are scraping by. I mean, I have a really good friend, Joe. Actually, I did an interview with him for my channel, and I still haven't edited it. But we talked about, this is a guy who's an Anthony Award-winning author. He's been nominated, I don't know, 5 times, 4 times, a lot. He's won a ton of other awards. His writing is beautiful. And he sells okay. He sells decently well, but he's not a gazillion bestseller or anything. And he often is taking on other gigs, he struggled to find an agent. Like, he left his other agent. He had a lot of stuff going on, felt like he needed a big change. Mm-hmm. And it took him a while. And I hate for us to judge. Not that I agree with the harping on what a real writer is definitely. Okay, I'm not going to say that. But I'm not going to say, I don't know. But, well, Carrow and I both have some psychology background, which I find fascinating, right? Is that the most helpful thing with all the writing classes I've ever taken in my life? I think it was the psychology classes, which I think were fun. I have no degree in psychology. I just took them over and over again because I love them. Yeah. I feel like that helps my writing more. I'm ready to define what a real writer is. Ready? Do you write? Do you write? You're a writer.
Yay! You're done. Yeah, not a freelancer. Used to be for a while, side job, but 1 million words. That'll do it. That'll do it, geek. All right. Hi, Alec. I'm so excited. Okay, I'm not sure who can approve. I'll post. All right, good.
I approve. There you
go. All right, you guys chat for another second. I'm going to rewind this timer, and we're going to go for another writing sprint. I find this I just wondered. I read it and I was going to respond, and I just thought, I want to know what you guys thought about it. But I felt like super
it's just interesting because like normally I see those posts and I just read it. I'm like, okay, whatever. And I don't really think too much about it until like 2 or 3 of my other friends are kind of like, so what do you think? And I was like, okay, maybe I should like go have an opinion about this now.
Yeah.
So sometimes it feels like it's just somebody doing like a cry in the dark, and they will say like a really sharp opinion to get a reaction, which I really hate that it's like that. But sometimes that's the only way to like get people to talk to us. So.
I also think based on those little debacles you mentioned before, the things over the last year or two, and they make these statements because it may be aimed at just 1 or 2 people out there, but it sounds
right.
Everybody.
Well, yeah, and she had sort of called out, I don't know, 4 or 5 people, and
I have a list.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's
people selling services for gigantic money.
Yeah.
And I made a video on that from a business standpoint, and I had people come on saying, yes, but as a business, you have to realize that AuthorTube is a prime market, and we can come in there and take advantage of that and make money. But the only people you're taking advantage of are the people who don't know what they don't know.
Right.
They're new writers coming in, and you're taking advantage of people that are barely getting off the ground.
It's not. Yo, go on. Sorry.
No, it feels so like wrong and gross. You go ahead. Sorry. Robert, please finish.
Their first experience coming in is going to be taken advantage of and technically being robbed for several $1,000s. And how does that affect you coming in? Are you going to give up on your dream? Are you going to be hurt? I mean, that's just not nice.
It's not nice. How long does it take you? I mean, a lot of times it takes you a long time to get started for the first time anyway. So imagine if that's your first experience coming out of the gate, or your third, how that, right? You already have, there are already enough, sort of negative forces around writing a book. You have, you have your own insecurities. You have a lot of people have family members saying this is a dumb idea. It's never going to happen.
They're
right?
saying,
you have all these, you have all these things, already have all these things that make it challenging. And so to have somebody take advantage of you. There was a book, I think it was self-published, and I don't know where it is because I moved recently, but I think it was called 10% of Nothing. And it was basically about this woman who pretended to be an agent, and she just took these aspiring authors for thousands and thousands of thousands of dollars, and literally in her like 15 or 20 year career never sold a single book, but you just took people's dreams and their money, and I find that horrific. So Eva, this kind of gatekeeping is why she's so hesitant to step into the freelance world.
I wouldn't let it stop you. Just do it.
Just do it. Right. Jump in, honey, because you're going to need those skills. So, yeah.
And everybody is treated differently. So your experiences will be different than the experience you've heard about. And
some of them are terrible. Some of them are good. And they have value in different ways. And you will learn some lessons. For goodness sake, it's a big job. Get paid half up front, half in the middle. That's my freelance life. Right? Traditionally published, author who sells decent, has been for 25 years, lost track of how many books she has, and she's not rich or household name. That happens all the time. That happens all the time.
She keeps saying she's going to bed, but she's still here.
I love that she's staying. I love that she's staying. It is not representative of the author writer community. First of all, there are a lot of authors who do not like to deal with other people at all. Don't you feel like AuthorTube is sort of like it's a really nice little home for people, for authors who like to talk to other authors. Right? It's good. It's a good thing for extroverts, I think. Yes, that is true. And you should not let AuthorTube intimidate you. For one thing, if someone tells you some advice that feels awful, go somewhere else, because there is somebody else to tell you something different.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, now she's going.
I don't believe it. She'll be back in 5 minutes.
Because you're here and that you stayed past your time. Thank you. See you next week. Hi, Michael. Thank you so much for showing up today.
Hey, Mike.
Georgie's back. Work for themselves, especially in the arts. Have many projects going at the same time. Yeah, you know, the other thing we have not talked about related to this is that you can really, don't you find that your other projects really inspire your book writing, right? There are times when I feel like I need some creative input, and sometimes doing something that's still, you know, your basic skill set of writing, but in some other format, it helps kind of get that stuff going, for sure.
I always tell people that because I was trained in art school with sequential art, which is like storyboards and comic books.
Oh, I love sequential art. I love it.
Yeah, it's very cinematic, and the same thing applies. And they have answers that a lot of writers don't have. So broadening your perspective is always, it's always.
It really is. I bet your I hate to say this because I just read you to death. I haven't read anything of yours yet, which I'm going to have to rectify immediately. I bet your writing is very visual. It just sort of like ding occurred to me. I'll bet it is. Yes?
I see it very much like what happens in a paragraph can happen in a panel. You only have you have one point of view, one main character, one main visual. And that, if you have a whole bunch of things going on at once, it gets cluttered.
That's exactly right. Good for you. All right. Ethics still matter even in business, especially in business.
Yeah. Every time I've had a statement about somebody who's basically doing these bogus services, I'm like, do you know what the state ethics in your area is? If you don't, let me tell you, because I've studied all of them.
I think a lot of people don't. I think a lot of that kind of spammy stuff is sort of just shortcuts and BS and not bed.
See, she came back. You're proving.
I literally got dressed 6 minutes before this live stream started. If Robert had not tweeted like a couple more minutes or half an hour, I was like, oh crap, my hair's still wet. I don't have, I still have my pajamas on. All right. Yes, Eva. All right. I'm going to just run through these super quick. All right. Let's see. Oh, this is nice. Okay. Introvert, but being able to talk to other authors is the biggest draw of the group. Thank you. Yes, absolutely. Meet the agents who will decline to represent your debut novel. All right, I'm going to put that on the reading list. You're like becoming my go-to curator geek. An artist and an author. I think a lot of people are. I think in some form or another. I'm crafty in addition to writing. I need all these creative outlets. All right, let's see.
Writers are supposed to be visual. I said writers could benefit from an art class because it helps you see things the average person doesn't see.
I think that is so true. I think that is so true. All right. I have reset our timer. Who's ready for another writing sprint?
You have to put it back on.
All right. Here we go. Let's get rolling. I'm going to put this back up. What does this do? Add to the stream. Let's see.
No, don't come up now.
No, not now. Oh, that's great. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Okay, I'm going to take the comments down so we don't cover up Robert's face again. All right, here we go, everybody.
Okay.
I think I stopped it. I'm like trying to come back and forth.
Can you guys hear me?
I did okay today. How'd you guys do?
There's no sound.
Oh no, hold on. Wait, who's not?
No
You
sound.
don't hear anybody?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, so for some reason he can't hear you, so you might have to look at what you did. Did you mute him by accident?
I don't think so. He's not muted. I can hear him. Can you hear me?
No,
This happened last time.
Hold on. I'm gonna just come back. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now I can.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't hear the alarm or anything either, so I'm typing away and
That's okay. I know. I have no idea what I did. All right. I think we all know that I'm a little bit technically challenged with the live stream, but I appreciate everybody sticking with me. So how did you guys do?
I got 773.
That is fantastic. Very nice, Bob. How about you?
Looking. I have to highlight and add it up. I think I did a little better this time.
That's good.
Well, at least they can hear us.
Yeah, that's the best thing. Okay, that's good.
Got about 611 words that time.
Oh, that's really good.
That is good. All right, Robert, I beat you by 9 words. I have 620. So I'm very excited about that because I would not have thought that I wrote that many, but I had like a really good sort of spurt right at the beginning.
Yeah.
Steven's writing corner. Steven got 369. That's awesome. Joe Ninja Hen. Oh, that's like a whole different thing. I'll have to go back and find that. Nihilist Geek says, finished the article, revised and sent it. That's like, yay, geek.
Yay.
Yay. 215 for Joe Ninja Hen.
Cool.
Fantastic. So I have 2 things that I wanted to talk about.
Oh, okay.
While everybody else's comments are coming through. So first of all, in Robert's last video, I don't know if you've seen this yet, but if you haven't, you should go over there because I feel like, did you have like a professional pillow plumper come in before your video? Or do you, like, those are like HGTV quality pillow plumps in there? And I'm just curious if that's just another artistic expression for you, or do you have a gift or someone who comes and does it for you?
Well, my significant other first plumped them, and then I learned from her, and then I've plumped them since.
Okay. I was like, wow, those pillows look amazing.
It's a family secret. That's what
Oh my gosh, that's great. So, so this is the other thing I want to talk about because we'd spent like the earlier part of the stream talking about kind of this controversy with this other author-tuber and kind of, you know, who's a real writer and are you allowed to have freelance jobs and still call yourself an author, etc. So I think it would be nice, because I'm generally a happy person, if our last little comment group was about what we really like about AuthorTube.
Oh, you're ending it on a positive note.
I am. That's me. Like, what can we learn from this? But no, what do you guys really love about AuthorTube? Not just us, but you guys too. I want to hear, or not hear, I want to hear your comments, but I'll have to just settle for reading them. So, yeah. So what do you guys think about that? What are your favorite things about AuthorTube, or just the people you've met here or whatever?
Yeah, I really love the community and the fact that it's growing constantly. When I first came, it was very hard to communicate with anybody. It was such a separate entity. And some people thought there were like 30 people doing AuthorTube, and it's like, no, there's a lot more.
Wow.
You have to go look for them.
You really do. You really do. I know there are a lot of AuthorTubers that are sort of toiling away in obscurity, myself included. But yeah, I think that's one of my favorite things too, one of the community. Like, I love the fact that that here we all are. We're doing this live stream and we got this kind of regular gig going, and I really super love that. And I really like the community. I really like The people that I've met so far, I mean, honestly, I think this is, and I haven't been super, you know, like I haven't been involved in the way that I am now, you know, when I was just watching videos. So I wasn't really aware of kind of the, you know, behind the scenes stuff that was going on. And honestly, I don't want to be too aware of that. I would rather just focus on the writing. And the people that I have met here who are so amazing and talented and supportive. And so, yeah. So I don't want to like go too much into it. I think because I read that post right before we had our live stream today.
I think it's natural that you want to talk about that because that's obviously an opinion that is going to send ripple effects. And I think having a healthy, open discussion with transparency is something that the community really just needs to have. I like AuthorTube because when I first started, I didn't know what the hell I was doing this time last year. I was just lost, and I was like, I don't even know how to get the camera to work. Like, should I have bookshelves in the background? Do I need, like, what am I supposed to do? And I reached out to Sarah Schwarmer, because she does streams every Friday. And I was like, I have no fucking clue what I'm doing. And she's like, girlfriend, come on to my stream. You can watch how we do it. And then after that, like Dana, like kind of was like, well, you know, this is how this works. And then Sky came in. It's like, you can come and hang out on my channel. And then like, it was just a really welcoming and accepting environment. And I know it's really hard for people on the other side to see what goes on in the background, but there's a lot of coordination. There's a lot of communication. And I really like just how supportive people are of each other. Like, spoiler, I've pretty much bought every AuthorTuber's book. I've bought them all. I won't review them because it's really weird for me to review the book of somebody that I know. Just know that I bought it.
It is.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so exchange of ideas and opinion, the interactivity of streams. I love that. I never thought I would be so excited about streams. And I just did, I can't remember who my first one was. I think I saw By the Brook. I think I saw one of hers really early on. And it was just one of those sort of accidental things where it was in my homepage. And it wasn't even live at the time. I was watching like the replay of it, and yet I'm still feeling like inspired and engaged, and I'm still doing my little writing sprints. It feels like she's there. I'm just the only one that's not commenting. So there's something really fantastic about it. I never thought that I loved the live streams. I had no idea that I would like them. This is a whole conversation that I missed. Okay. Loves the diversity. They're having a whole thing about Nihilist Geek and Joan Ninja Hen are having like a whole conversation about whether or not you know Greek. I don't even know where to start with that. So yeah, different techniques. I think that's great. There really is like more than one way to write a book. There are about 1 million, and I love to see all the different perspectives, and I still learn stuff all the time.
Yeah, I see a comment from Eva. Yeah, no, I am like, my year anniversary is like coming up like next year. Yeah, and it all, like, for me, this all started because the publisher, who will not be named, that I have a bad relationship with, said you need to be out more. So I started the YouTube channel, and then even after I left, I still continued the YouTube channel. And I want to go back to about how supportive like these people are, because like this breakup with the publisher was really ugly. Like, I mean, like nasty, crying.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. And so I remember like right after one stream, we did the stream, and then I think somebody was like, Kara, are you okay? And I was like, no, I'm not. I just had like this meltdown with these people. Like, we're here for you. We've got you. Fuck those people. And I was like, that's what I really needed to hear.
And just having that like right there at the moment that you need it is, that community is really important. And think about how lonely you feel before you get published. Like when you are a writer who does, like, I didn't know an author when I didn't know any authors when I first decided I was going to write a book.
Before the internet, none of us did, unless
right?
I was like, I'm the only writer in the world.
I know, it feels like that. It can be very lonely. And I think one of the things that's so great about this is you have so much access to all these people that know a lot of different things about a lot of different things. And you also have this great community of people who are, no matter where you are, there you have people who are like where you're a little farther ahead in the process, or they're farther ahead in the process. And I think it's so fantastic, the community and the advice. I enjoy watching the videos. Aw. So right. Aw, this is so great. Aw. Yes, that is true when things get really rough. I know it's really it's fantastic. I love you guys. Like, I think this is so fun. And like this little, just immediately as soon as I started posting, there were just people that just showed up and was like, hi, welcome. Blah, blah. And there's something just delightful about that. So I found it to be very positive so far. I
noticed your thumbnail because I was like, holy crap, that is really bright pink. Who is this person?
Well, you know what's so funny is that, so I worked in advertising for like 8 years before I started writing books. And like, a lot of the thumbnails are super similar, and I wanted something that was a little different. It's different for sure. I know. So Mike, my significant other, who is like very manly, was like, I am very concerned that you are going to be turning off some of your potential viewers. But I will say I get as many comments and likes and subscribes from guys as I do from women. So I don't know. I think,
yeah, I know the person that does the marketing for my workplace. You're like, you need to put yourself in the thumbnail. I was like, every hoe out there puts them faces in the thumbnail. I am not doing. I am Carrow. I am different.
You are. That's exactly
I've only done
right.
it a few times myself. I don't get that. I mean, it's the same face making a different expression every time.
It's always like.
I will tell you the science behind that is because people respond more to people's faces.
Yeah.
So I am the expression. You know, the other thing, I'm not like a pointer in real life, but in and also just like the sort of outtakes, like I'm just doing them on my little photo booth on my Mac, and you'll have like whatever I'm wearing that day because you want it to match, and I'm like making these like. I feel like I should just do like a calendar or something for my mother that's just like filled with
so hilarious.
All those goofy ass photos. The thumbnail is what I noticed first too. Thank you, SD. Okay, because of her long name. Let me explain that. I can't even like figure out how to change it now because it's like a brand name. Because I like 10 years ago I just posted like 14 videos related to a dating book I was releasing under Lisa Daly, and some of them have gotten like hundreds of thousands of views, so I don't want to take them down, but the only way for me to do another YouTube channel was to have it like relate, like the brand channel related to whatever like my Google name was. And my Google name was that because a marketing person said, oh, you should put all this in there. So I can't change it. And I was all excited when I was going to get to 100 viewers or 100 subscribers, because I'm like, at last I can pick my author name. Oh no, I can just have variations of best-selling author, writing coach, Lisa Daly. So I apologize for anyone.
I can show you later.
Longest freaking name in history. Everyone needs this space in their life. Oh, that's awesome. You guys are so sweet. I love it. All right, so we have that's funny. I'm just going to put these two back and forth. We have 10 minutes left. Who wants to stay 10 minutes longer and do a 20-minute sprint, or should we just wrap it up and do a 10-minute sprint?
Oh, sure.
What do you think?
Either way.
I'm a monkey in your circus.
All right, we'll do a 20-minute sprint. We will get started on that. Let me just say, what I need, share screen. Here we go. So I want to remind everybody that CARROW does a stream that starts at, here, I got to take this down so we can see Robert's head. CARROW does a stream that starts at 2 p.m. Eastern, so about an hour after ours. There's a link over down in the description. All right. Also, I decided I was going to list all my regulars, all our regulars. They're not mine. They belong to all of us. I decided I was going to list all of you in the description, give you a little shout out. So post a comment if you are not in the description, and I will add you. All right. Post a comment in the, like down below, not in the live stream, because it's hard to come back in the mic. All right, here we go, everybody. Let's roll.
Wait, what was Robert?
I'm going to have to cut out early because I have something going on shortly after 1.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'm going to say my goodbyes now.
Okay.
Oh, let's do a 10-minute. Here, hold on. Let's give you 2 seconds. Let's do a 10. We don't want you to have to cut out. You're here to the end, baby. We'll just do 5 more minutes. How about that? Hold on. Well, you guys chat while I find the 5-minute timer, would you? All right.
He always picks like the worst time.
Bad thing.
This dog always picks the worst time to come and make a cameo.
What's your dog's name?
This is Bones. I found him on the street, and he's mine now.
Aww. That's so sweet. All right, here we go. We're doing a 5-minute because we cannot go on without Robert today.
Oh my goodness, what are you doing?
All right, sharing the screen. Here we're making it happen. All right. Yay, I think. Yes, yes. Here we go. All right, everybody, 5 minutes.
Okay.
Okay. Here we go. Yay. All right. So how did everybody do? I actually had a super productive last, even though it was only 5 minutes. So how'd you guys do?
I was looking for an outfit for my story, so I found 3. Narrowed it
Well,
to
that's a relief. That's good. I think that counts. Whatever you have to type into the search bar. How'd you do, Robert?
229, so pretty good.
Look at you. Now you beat me this time. I had 212. That's fantastic. How did everybody do? It takes a second for the comments to load. All right. SD, sorry, we changed it the last second. I feel like we can't finish, though, without Robert here because we just can't. All right. It's good. Well, since we just have a couple minutes left, I just want to say thank you so much to you guys for coming today. Thank you to CARROW and Robert for hosting. If you guys are new here and this is your first time, please, if this is not what I wanted to say, look. Blah. I'll just go through all the banners. If you are having fun today, or if you did have fun, please remember to subscribe and ding the little bell so you'll get notified the next time we do live writing sprints. But we're doing them every Wednesday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern time. And since we have people from all over the planet, you'll have to do your own time conversion. So
sorry, friends.
That's right. Sorry about that. That's right. But CARROW does a live stream every week, an hour after ours over on her channel. So definitely be sure to show up for that. If you want to check out Robert or CARROW's videos, there are links to them right below. But I'm also going to post a link to your last video, Robert, because I found it really very helpful. So
I thought it was a good video.
It really was. It really was. It was definitely. I mean, I always really enjoy your stuff, but I especially enjoyed that one. So, all right. Anybody else want to say anything before we sign off? We have to get you out the door at 1 p.m., buddy.
We should probably let him go first in case he's got to leave right now.
That's true.
Final thoughts. I guess for me, in terms of AuthorTube, drama, whatever you want to call it, harkening back to what CARROW was saying, you know, parting with her publisher. When you get out in the real world, all that drama can really affect you, because I've known people that have become water cooler conversations over inadvertently offending somebody with nonsense like that. Right. It really affects their career because it gets really blown out of proportion.
Right. Yeah.
Drama, not fun in the real world.
No, it really isn't. You make such a good point. I mean, AuthorTube may feel like a big world, that there are so many people out here, but publishing is not. It is a very small world.
No, and the last thing you want to be known for is stirring the pot like that, because you have to ask yourself, is this thing that I'm willing to harp about worth risking my brand over? Because me and my publisher have been looking at comic artists for a little while, and we check out all their social media. And the moment we start seeing some crazy stuff, it's like, man, great art, can't take you. Sorry.
Right.
Exactly. I see a lot of deleted videos in people's future if they're going to actually be traditionally published.
Yeah.
Or even make friends in the world if you're self-publishing.
You want to make friends in the world no matter what, because you're going to need blurbers, and you're going, and also it's just more pleasant to go through life if you have friends.
And these people that you are talking about are also technically your coworkers as well, so you have to take that into account as well. So.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. We all feel you, Jamie. She's being distracted by Oscar the Dachshund. So anyway, so thank you guys, everybody. Thank you so much. Stephen pulled in 38 today. I'm proud. Thank you, Georgie. Thank you, Joan. Thanks to all the commenters. Thanks for showing up today, you guys. I really appreciate it. So, all right, we are heading out so Robert can go out the door. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next Wednesday.
Take care, everybody.
Bye, friends.
See you later.
I'm waving. Wave, wave.